exist. Because right now,
Gee,
the way the industry is set up.
What do you want me to introduce you as?
The son of a legend, and how I had to reinvent myself in the industry because of the changes of the industry.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. I'm gonna say the son of a legend, and you're gonna tell your story.
Okay, gotcha.
Ready?
You're tuned into NWCLV.FM. It's DJ KeauxBruh. Move slick, strike quick, hit you once, and it's over. And DJ, that's digital journalist, because I don't jock nothing. You heard me? Hey, we got Real Talk with Jayson Dixion again, and we got a legend in the game, Mr. Gene Anderson. Jay, take it away.
Hey everybody, this is Real Talk with Jayson Dixion. You know how we get down. I love to have real conversations with real people that are making big things happen every day. Today I got in the building a legend, man, son of a legend artist, Mr. Gene. Go on and introduce yourself to my craft, okay? All we're talking about is you today. It's all about you. Who you are, what you do, how you became who you are, and everything about you that makes you the great person we know today.
Well, I'm the son of jazz legend Fred Anderson that gave me a legacy to expound upon to where I was able to find my niche. Because my dad always preached to me about individuality, being in your own musical space, and finding your own voice.
Right.
And he taught me how to cultivate my talent in reference to the spontaneity aspect of playing music. I grew up in the industry with legends that his best friends like Dexter Gordon, Eddie Harris, Jack DeJohnette used to come to my house and practice when he was working with Miles Davis doing the KeauxBruh album.
Right.
So I had a chance to see Jack practice in my house, and he's the one that taught me about the martial arts and music being an art form, and how he put those two together. So I've just been blessed just to be
that's a blessing. I want to grow up in your household
environment, you know.
So how did that groom you to where you're going, where you wanted to go? And from that effort, I know that we've been talking financial since you've been here, but I want to know, how did you get from the realm of music and entertainment to where you are today, helping people change their lives?
Because of the changes in the music industry, where hardcore musicians like myself are unemployed because of rap music that's put us out of work, and studios that are using machines now, that by me being a senior citizen now, I had to what's called reinvent myself.
Yep, and it's okay to do that. I want you guys to know it's all right. Everybody does it.
Well, it's all about survival of the fittest and being able to go with the change. Just like for an example, the Isley Brothers. They've been around for decades because they know how to communicate and have the voice to give the people what they want.
Right.
So those are the old artists. They're in their 80s now.
Right.
But they are dinosaurs. So now this is kind of leaving me room to find my niche. And here it is, I'm 70 years old, and I found a niche, but I had to deviate away from music and get into finance.
That'll work.
Now,
that's never a bad trade-off.
Right. But how I got into that, the good Lord choreographed that. Because I used to own a business called the Contractors Referral Service back in the 80s. Now, this was before Angie's List.
Okay.
So I consider myself a trendsetter in the Contractors Referral because I was the first to do it before Angie's List.
Right.
And I had gotten my first telemarketing job, but I was in between gigs. So I just got to LA. I had just left a band that we were signed with Areola Records.
Okay.
But the vibe wasn't right with the group because the executive producer was a gangster, Tony Sobel. He was the executive producer.
Right.
So if that group would have been successful, I would have been a slave to the mob. So God didn't want that for me.
I'm with you.
God didn't want that. God didn't sanction that.
Nobody wants to be tied to the mob. I'm just letting you know. No disrespect, no nothing, but let's be honest.
Well, I walked into that scenario because, see, when I first came to LA, I stayed with my cousin up in San Jose. And he told me, Gene, you and Zach need to hook up. And me and Zach Prather, we were in kiddie bands together back in Evanston, Illinois. So I called up Zach and told him I was in town. He said, hey, man, I'll give you a place to stay. So he gave me a roof over my head and I met the leader of the band, Cash McCall. At that time, Cash McCall was one of the top not studio musicians, but one of the top A-list musicians to the stars, like Etta James, he was her backup guitar player, Natalie Cole, Minnie Riperton. So I met Cash McCall. So Cash McCall said, hey man, I like your look. And you're a drummer percussionist, and you can sing too. So he said, okay, let me put you up front, and then have you, playing percussion. So I didn't even have any instruments. So he just donated some instruments to me and everything. So the whole scenario behind that is,
it just looks like you've been blessed. I'm just being honest. Like you walking, like he's saying it so, like I think I'm just impressed because he's saying it like, well, then gifts were given to me, and I'm like, wow, like can I have your life?
Well, when I first got to California, man, it was a cultural shock to me because
hey, that's the way Vegas is to me right now.
They say once you can survive the first 2 years in LA, so the things I had to do to survive.
Right.
So it was just a blessing. I walked into a friend of mine, and that's all predicated like on a relationship.
Yep.
That walked right into a record deal with Areola Records.
Oh man.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's just like, and I walked right in.
Right. He gave me a place to stay, introduced me to Cash McCall. Cash liked my look, and he liked the way I play and everything. Now he liked me more as a percussionist than a drummer.
Right.
Because I had jazz chops.
Okay.
So I didn't have them fat back chops that looked like they were looking, but eventually I did develop it and everything. So they said, you play percussion better than you play drums, and you can sing too, so we're gonna put you out front. Wow. So we were going to the studio, and I always noticed at the studio that Tony Sobel had his henchmen there all the time. Now there was Cash McCall and Zach had a thing of cocaine like this, and while they were doing, like the music, they was, like snort up the cocaine, and there was always plenty of food and drugs, but no money.
Right.
So Cash McCall was being put up in a house in Granada Hills with a swimming pool, and Tony Sobel was giving him an allowance to pay us, but we weren't getting it.
Oh wow.
So I had to shack up with a little 18-year-old girl and her aunt that saw my plight, And I gave her a nickname too, it's funny. I used to call her Hot Panties O'Galdes. And she was very supportive. And check this out, and this actually happened. When I first came out here, I was trying to eat, and I took some nude photos. Because this photographer wanted to take me, like some nude photos and everything, right? So, without my permission, she sent my slides to Playgirl magazine.
Right.
Okay, without my permission. So, like when I came home from work, Daddy, I got some good news. You're a semi-finalist for Playgirl Man of the Year, 1980 Play. I said, what? I was livid. When she told me that, because I said, what if my parents see this? So they want you to send some more pictures.
I'm sorry. We're going to bring him back.
This actually happened.
I want you guys to understand. I wasn't expecting none of this. So I got to come back. So you took some pictures.
Yes. My
and
girlfriend
said,
found
I'm
them.
going to send these pictures.
No, she did it without my permission.
I got that. But in her mind, he's going to be so happy that I sent this out.
Right.
I understand back then they didn't really care about PR.
Yeah.
But that is something, Playgirl, Playboy, you don't want to be in that.
No,
you don't
absolutely
have that reputation.
not. Absolutely not.
So,
and all my colleagues told me, Gene, you need to go for it, man. $100,000, a new car and everything. I said, nah, I don't want my parents to see me in that light.
I'm running for president one day.
Now, if she would have consulted me,
right.
Then I would have had time to think about it.
Right.
But these are the kind, when you come to LA, there's always things to sidetrack you from what you want to do when you get there.
The devil will always throw a sideball.
And then it's all about survival, because see, I was in a new environment. I didn't know how people roll in LA and everything. And even though I was a great musician, but then there were thousands of great musicians starving like I was.
Right. And that's what people don't understand. When
Right.
you move to a new place and you don't know the terrain, it's always, I learned it when I moved here.
Right.
Business was going great, everything was going great, and a screwball was thrown at me.
Right.
Because I followed somebody I thought that was on my side, but really it was to benefit them. So that looks like where it was. She was looking at it from y'all point of view and not your point of view.
Exactly. So then, like, you know, that was a curve. And this is during the time when I was working on the record deal with Aerial Records, and the name of the group is called Street Player.
Okay.
And the record came out. It made the top 100 charts. We were starting to get airplay after 12 o'clock, and we were gaining momentum. So we went from in the top 100, we were like number 80.
Right.
And we were gaining momentum, and then Areola Records folded.
Yeah. I remember that.
And so then when they folded, we got caught in that menagerie where like MCA bought them out.
Okay.
So then like they just killed all of our dreams, dashed everything. Then one of the band members, his name was, he was Anderson too, Roosevelt Anderson. And we hooked up and formed a production company together, and we ran into Ruby Andrews out here. Her biggest platinum hit, I think, was Casanova back in 1971. Yeah, and made a believer out of me. And she's from Chicago, and my partner.
I'm old. I'm young, but I'm old. My
Right,
parents were old,
right.
so they played old stuff.
Right. And I just recently reconnected with Ruby also too, recently through Facebook. So
That's a powerful tool, ain't it?
I'm going to be doing some movie soundtrack opportunities with her coming up now. You know, since I have that table set for me now.
So from the music side, how did you get to the finance side? That's the best part about
My late wife.
Okay.
My late wife.
I'm
I
sorry
met her.
about that.
I met her on a cold call when I had my contract and referral service business.
Okay.
And
Well, everybody started knocking on doors, didn't they?
yeah, but see, I was on the phone.
I understand.
I was on the phone, and I created my characters when I had my telemarketing business. And the reason why I had to create my characters is because the do not call law came in.
Yes.
So I had to have a way to get around that. So I created characters. So when I talk to Southern people, hi, Miss Johnson, this is Sam Pickett from Bareback, Alabama. We're doing deals all day long, Armstrong and regular. And then when I would talk to Caucasian, hi, Sam Rosa from HRL Construction. We slashed our prices dramatically, and we're doing a deal extravaganza.
Hey, I'm not even mad at it because I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and I understand that's telemarketing central.
Right.
So you have to understand how to reach your customer.
Right.
You can't slur your words or
No.
like if they learn your color or they learn your ethnicity, you were done.
Just like I would tell a customer, Miss Johnson, I'll be brief and painless, I promise you. See, that's a shock line.
Yeah.
You know, oh, who the hell is this? Sam Pickett from Bareback, Alabama. How you doing, sir?
Hey, this his show. This his show at this point.
And then I came up with Sammy Dog. Now, when I came up with Sammy Dog, everybody in the phone room would be busting laughing. Hi, Sammy Dog contract. We do verbal kung fu. Take my name with the whiz. Take my name with the whiz, please. So then Sammy Dog came in. Hi, Sammy Dog contract. We do bathroom remodel. The homeowners, they were like glued to the phone. Sammy who? Sammy Dong, Mr. Johnson. I contract the store now. So that's how I fed my family.
Okay.
I fed my family, and my wife, she was sick for 12 years. She was a renal patient, but she was a very, very brilliant woman. Because when I met her, when I had my contract referral service business, she basically was my consultant, and she told me one day, resonated in my brain. She said, "You're in business, but you're not doing business."
Exactly.
I said, "What do you mean by that?" She said, "What are your profit centers?" Okay, and I didn't have any. So she consulted me for 6 months, and we never met. It was all a cold call.
Wow.
But she just had that charismatic personality and that inner beauty situation that attracted me to her.
Yeah.
And even though she wasn't the type of woman I would normally deal with because of her physical attributes, I just discarded that because of her mindset and her entrepreneurial.
That's always a game changer. Now
Right.
I'm that way too. If it's
Right.
regardless, if we can have a good conversation, if I feel comfortable, if
Right.
you show me how to better myself,
Right.
that's probably going to attract me more than what your physical looks like.
And she was a promoter. She had an idea that was stolen by Don King that changed boxing history, and we didn't get a quarter. She also created the Taste of Soul that came out of her brain and got stolen. You know, and she did all of this while she was sick
Oh wow!
as a renal patient. Yes, and so I should be wealthy right now. Then she created a egg roll product, a food product. She found the funding for that, $5 million for that. Talked to a venture capital firm out of Washington, D.C. She had 37 different egg rolls of every culture, and we call them cultural egg rolls. And the whole concept was eat and roll. She was very brilliant. And then with the fighting situation, she created the Caribbean explosion
Right.
in the Virgin Islands.
Right.
And she wanted to use Don King's fighter, Julian Jackson, and Don was playing hardball with her, but she was playing chess with Don King.
Right.
And she finessed Don King and got Julian for nothing. Why did she do that? All hell broke loose when she did that. Don King squashed us like an ant, played with her, toyed with her, to the sense that she got on the phone with Don King, and that's where Don did his thievery. First thing Don said, this is America, it's enough money for us to all make some money. What are you doing in the Virgin Islands? My wife, with her egotistical butt, told Don King what she was doing. Never been done in boxing history before. And
Right.
Don did it when Tyson got locked up. And then this is during the 1992 riots, where we couldn't get no investors to come to LA. The mistake we made is we shopped the deal.
Right.
Because a bogus investor came out of nowhere that Don sent.
Right.
Strung us out to the 11th hour. Okay. Larry Carroll, the news character, was our partner.
Okay.
And he's the one that got us our pay-per-view deal. Renee Roker, that was from the Virgin Islands, got us our site fee deal with the Virgin Islands for $750,000. We were doing a joint venture with Merv Griffin's company with his traveling boats, where we were going to microwave the fight on his ships in conjunction with Merv. So she had set up all the profit centers.
Okay.
You feel me? She was extremely brilliant like that. Extremely, you know.
See, it sounds like it. I'm like, I need
And
her right now.
all we were trying to do was get the Paramount money,
Right.
which was $650,000. We already, Don Muse, that was the commissioner of boxing in Washington State, liked my whole wife's promotional concept in boxing, that where a black female was going to be working on a championship level. And the powers in boxing didn't want that. And they all, Bob Arum, Cedric Kushner, and Don King fought against it. Okay, and they all tried to throw stumbling blocks at us,
Right.
and they were very successful because we were in South Central LA in the middle of the riots when it was going down. Right in the middle of the riots, trying to do this. So my wife is the one that was instrumental to get me into finance,
Right.
and she was tied into most of the Jewish power brokers in the money leveraging industry, in the world banking industry, on how she got into that arena. Because see, that arena you have to be ushered in. You can't just walk in. I don't care how much money you have.
Yep.
So we had a Jewish godfather, I called him. His name was Peter, and he taught us all about money leveraging, midterm banknotes, all the top banks around the top 25 banks in the world. So I now have consultants that I work with right now. That's my financial brain trust right today because of my wife that laid
So
that
basically,
foundation for me.
She laid the foundation, and you've taken it over to
Right.
say, look, I just want to go find the deals. If I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong, and I understand. But basically, right now, you're leveraging what you have and what she created to be able to help finance others. And
Well, she's the one. Well, let's just say like this.
Okay.
It was like going to finance school, but you couldn't learn this in any finance school because you're doing deals of a different complexity.
Right.
And you have to fail to succeed. Because the
Exactly.
failing part is how you learn. Because we got screwed out of millions and millions of dollars because we
you
were
learn what
green.
not to do.
So most of the people who are sharks in the money game, see, all the sharks are in the money game. The biggest crooks are in the money game.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know, so when they saw that we were wet behind the ears,
They were like hungry. They was like, man, we about to eat.
exactly.
Like, get your forks,
exactly.
get your bibs.
But that was the best thing that happened to us.
Yeah, because you learn.
Because that way, now when I talk to business people, I got sharper ears now to look for red flags.
Yep.
You feel me?
I do the same thing. We talk about that. Me and my team, we talk about it all the time. Sometimes it's better to sit at a table and shut up than it is to let everyone know what you do.
Well,
I strategically put myself in positions to where I don't discuss what I do
right.
until after, and I select the people that I want to deal with. And I'm grateful that God put me in that position. And I like the fact that you said, like, God moved everything for you, because that's what it sounds like.
Right.
He basically came into your life and was like, I'm going to move. And that's
Right.
how I feel with me. He put me in a position to where I don't really talk.
Right.
Once somebody introduces me, hey, I'm going to listen to what you got to say. And that's what the purpose of the podcast, because I want to know your story. I want to know, do we connect? What level are you on? Because there's people that we interview that I never talk to again.
Exactly. Well, one thing that I did know, I had to negate my music career because my wife was sick,
Okay.
number one. Because I could have been on tour, but I had a young daughter, and my wife was sick. She was on disability, so I was the breadwinner.
Yep.
And I couldn't go on tour, so I negated my career. But by her being so brilliant and so entrepreneurial, we never had a dull marriage, because every time that we would go into different projects, we go into different arenas and horizons that just really kept my mind stimulated. Because see, I like a woman that can cultivate my intellect.
Right.
You know, because in my age, it's not about sex anymore. It's about my intellect thing, that woman can stimulate my
That's
intellect.
me, my age, and I think I was like that when I was younger.
Right. So if I can't have a woman that can do that,
And I
you know,
always said that from the
Right.
time I was younger. Like, if we can't
Right.
have a conversation,
Right.
sex is nothing.
Exactly.
If we can't talk and
Right.
have a conversation or figure out what we're gonna do, if you can't stimulate me, I get turned
Right.
off in the first. You know,
Right.
I may be looking at you at first and be like, oh, she's beautiful, and then when I hear you open your mouth, I'll be like, oh yeah, she was.
Yeah, but you got to have something, a common bond interest, because see, when the sex is over, what do you got?
Right.
You know, what is there?
Exactly. And I'm with you. Nothing.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So that's why me and my wife were so in tune from a mental and spiritual and intellectual part that really stimulated my intellect, and I was learning, because see, most men would be intimidated by a woman like her.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I wasn't. I mean, I don't care where knowledge comes from. So I was like in school.
But to you, I can, because you kind of seem like me. Like, to you, that was more like, hey, I don't know this. I know what I know, and if you can show me what I don't know, put that with what I know, and I'm gonna dominate.
I used to watch her work the phones with these high-powered millionaires, and they didn't know she was black. You know?
You're black.
Yeah. Miss Anderson, I ain't gonna nigger you out now on this deal now. And then Miss Anderson, but he didn't know that my wife had the leverage in the deal. And then my wife came back, well, I am black. And boy, he got quiet as a church house mice, started eating humble pie after that. And then I heard some white guys tell, said, Miss Anderson, you can sell horse manure to the city.
Yeah.
My wife was a cold close. She had a what's called a closer's mentality on her phone.
All the time.
She would size you up, you know, knowing where she wants to go in the deal. You know, she had serious negotiating powers, and then she ended up getting the brunt of what she wanted. And then after the phone hung up, they would call back and say, well, our friends want to renegotiate. And I used to sit at home, and she was sick in the bed. Her office was the bedroom.
Right.
And my daughter was the one that was doing most of the brunt work when she created the egg rolls and everything. So she would tell my daughter, go fix this, go fix it, bring me this, bring me that, and everything was in the bedroom. And she never really exercised. And I was trying to get her to exercise, you know, and she wouldn't, you know. And then one day I saw myself, because the way she was feeding me, how I was eating and everything, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And I blew up to about 260 pounds. So I said to myself, So I changed my eating habits and got back to who I am again, you know.
Okay.
But that was her demise, really, is not exercising. She was a diabetic, okay, and she also had kidney failure, and she was obese.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, yes.
So from that, guys, I just want you guys to get a piece of this. We're going to invite you back for another show, because I want to go further into this. I really want to go further into the financing side
Okay.
and the business side and how you can help my followers. So please tell everybody who's watching right now how they can get a hold of you if they want to know more about what financing you have to offer,
Okay.
things like that. And also, like I said, your story is powerful. I love the story because that brings in the audience.
Right.
And from the audience, I can guarantee you're going to get sales.
Well, I basically have a vast financial background. We're working right now with a form of venture capital funding called non-traditional venture capital funding. Now,
Okay.
the whole premise of that funding is for small businesses and job creation.
Oh, man. See?
Okay?
Everything's in alignment. I'm
Right.
good because that's what I work with. I work with nothing but small business owners.
Okay, so there are no upfront fees.
Oh, wow.
You will retain 100% equity in your business with no equity participation.
Okay.
Okay, the bank is paying us. The gentleman who is the CEO has billion-dollar signatory powers because he is the creator
Okay.
of this premise. He's tied into your local bank and the investment bank that will over-collateralize it with your local bank with a credit line.
Right.
So the
Understood.
due diligence that's coming in the door, where a lot of people are falling off the wagon, is the spreadsheet and also the cash flow analysis. That will let us know your business acumen.
Yep. Paperwork.
The cap, I mean, the minimum is 25 million. The cap is 50 million. This is all for small businesses.
Right.
Okay, and then I'm tied into. I did a 1-year internship with Blue Shore Films and Blue Shore Venture Capital. That is 3 companies under one umbrella. They have a movie production component, they have a loan division, and they do film financing.
Oh,
Now,
man.
where they're getting their financing on the film side is on the real estate side.
Right. I know.
But then there are moving components that you have to appease our real estate investors so their money won't be put into a black hole.
Right.
So I'll go over that like at a later time what the requirements are
Okay.
to get film funding from a creative aspect for films.
That'll work. Like I
Okay.
said, man, it was my pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Right on, my brother.
It was great having you. Guys, this is Real Talk with Jayson Dixion. I just gave you a glimpse of what we have to come with this man over here. I'm so grateful and blessed for you guys bringing him to the table. Tune in next time. Y'all know we do this on the fly, me and my guy. We are really, really grateful to have business owners come around and actually educate you guys. I love hearing the story because from the story, I know you guys are going to listen to what you need to get to solutions. Cat, take us out of here, man.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk with Jayson Dixion and our special guest, Mr. Anderson. And don't forget, when you're in Las Vegas, to visit the only 100% black-owned dispensary. That's Nevada Wellness Centers. Join us at NevadaWellnessCenters.com for a location near you and for what we have new on the menu. And I am DJ King Cobra. I move slick, strike quick, hit you once, and it's over. And DJ, that's digital journalist, because I don't jock nothing. You heard me? Off top, we hot.
You're